Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. Before we get into today's deck out mill goat format video, showcasing one of the alternate win conditions of goat format and Yu-Gi-Oh in general, I wanted to let you guys know that if you like goat format, Edison format, Tengu plant, hat format, we have them all here on the channel. So subscribe for more and let's get straight into today's video. Alright, to start, we got the boss monster. We got 3 needleworm. When this bad boy is flipped face up, he sends the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. If they're on a 40 card deck, this is already 1/8 of their deck, more than 10%, pretty legit. So yeah, we got that. We got Morphing Jar number 2. If you don't know what he does, he's one of the jars, and he says that when he is flipped up, both players return all monsters on their field to the owner's deck, and then they pick up cards from their deck into their hand until they get the same amount of monsters that was returned to the deck in their hand. This means that basically, if they're picking up spells or traps, those are going to go to the graveyard, as it says, which is adding to the neg of the deck, per se. I was trying to think of the word. So if they take like 10 cards to get 3 monsters that were returned, they're going to have 7 spells or traps put in the graveyard, which is really good. It helps the deck out strategy. Also, because we're playing a bunch of flip effects, which are the primary monsters for deck devastation, as it's actually termed, this helps us get monsters face down in defense again. Alright, we're playing Cyber Jar and Morphing Jar. These guys are limited to 1. Also really good for that deck out strategy. There is a deck called Empty Jar, which uses the jars as well, but we're just playing that deck out stall version. We have a lot of stall cards in this deck, and we're playing the needleworms, of course. Alright, next up we're playing 2 Harrow Shadow Scouts. When this one is flipped up, your opponent draws 3 cards, and then they would discard any magic cards or spell cards among them. Then we're playing 2 Spear Cretin. When this one was flipped and then sent to the graveyard, for example, if they attack it, flip, goes to the graveyard as a result of battle damage, you get to special summon. Was it both you and your opponent? Yeah, both of us actually, not just me, but our opponent as well. We both get to pick up a monster from our graveyard and special summon to face up attack or face down defense, which is really good for us. Like I said, we have all these flip effects, which are the primary things we do for decking out, so we need that. That's good for us. Next up, we have 1 Song, and that's going to allow us to search any of these crazy powerhouse cards like Morphing Jar, Needleworm. Just goes really crazy in a deck that has so many banger monsters. Morphing Jar number 2, Cyber Jar. Imagine being the opponent trying to attack in any of these. You better hope they just have a Blade Knight with 1 monster on field. That's like their only out to our deck. This deck is so annoying. Next up, we have 2 Moth. We play cards like Card Destruction. What else do we play? Book of Moon, Shallow Grave, Level Limit Area B. A lot of powerful cards, Pot of Greed. So Moth is just really good. Plus, it's a flip effect. Like I said, we have tons of ways of getting things face down in defense. So that has really good synergy. Because we play so many flip effects, we're on 2 Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is going to let us recycle a lot of these monsters and flip them again. Just use and abuse. Alright, that's it for the monsters. Let's clear these off and get into the spells and traps. Okay, next up, here we go. We got Pot of Green and Graceful Charity. We don't really need Delinquent Duo because that's not what we're going for in this deck. We are trying to deck them out, so we want anything that decks out, or stalls so that we can deck out. So this just allows us to dig in our deck to get those power cards, so that's what it's here for. We got the 1 Swords of Revealing Light. We are a stalled variant. We're not trying to OTK them or FTK them with decking out. It's going to happen over a period of time. Hopefully sooner than later, but we have to get to those cards first, so we need to stall in order to do that. Card Destruction. This is going to allow us to dig for power cards, as well as help deck out our opponent. They're going to discard their whole hand and draw the same amount, so that's really good. We got 3 Book of Moon. This doubles as defense, being a defensive card, as well as being able to reflip our flip monsters face down. For example, if we flip a Needleworm up to mill 5, and they attack our Needleworm, I'm inclined to book my needleworm so that they attack into it and it flips again. Really good in that regard. They are so tempted to attack into it because it's in attack position and they want to get it off the field, so they're going to get really baited hard into that. Next up, we have 3 copies of the Shallow Grave. If you don't know what this one does, it says, each player takes 1 monster card from his or her respective graveyard and special summons them on the field in face down defense position. Again, flip effect deck. Nothing more that needs to be said about that. All right, as far as stalling goes, we have 2 level limit area B and 2 gravity bind. And let's put these out right now. We got 3 wall of revealing light. So, yeah, this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards out of a 40 card deck. We got to see one of them. We can't take too many hits. We don't have many good stallers. I guess we have some Morphing Jar number 2s that help reset the board, Cyber Jar, etc. But generally speaking, we are very weak and we have to be able to stall. So this is just mandatory. It's not even an option. And then in order to stall effectively, you have to be able to protect against cards like Heavy Storm. Otherwise, this whole back row strategy that we have going on is going to get completely blown out of the water. So we're playing 3 Solemn Judgment and 3 Spell Shield type 8. If you have been living under a Yu-Gi-Oh rock and you don't know what Solemn Judgment does, I'll let you know. When a monster would be normal summon or a spell trap, it would be activated, pay half your life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So this is going to be our hard out to Heavy Storm, MST, maybe Torrential Tribute if we flip a Needleworm face up, and then they're going to pop our whole field, everything that we've worked hard to get. We just can't let that happen. And then Spell Shield type 8. This one is actually one that not a lot of people know, so I'll definitely go over this one real quick because it's essentially our second copies of Solemn Judgment against cards like Heavy Storm, MST. But yeah, this is twofold good. Let me explain why. So Spell Shield type 8. It's a counter trap, so that means it can't respond to by anything other than a counter trap, which is really good. It's got 2 effects. The first one says, negate the activation and the effect of a spell card that targets 1 monster on the field and destroy that spell card. So, as mentioned for the 10th time now, we play a lot of flip effects. So there's this little card that's semi-limited in the format because it's so good called Nobleman of Crossout. If you knock my Needleworm, it's going to banish every other Needleworm in my deck. If you knock my Morphic Armor 2, it's going to banish all of them. So this is a free out to that. No cost, just flip, negate, go 1 for 1, save your flip effects, end of story. But the second effect says, send 1 spell card from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation of a spell card and destroy it. That does have a cost, but it's also a super generic way of protecting against Heavy Storm and MST for our floodgates. So what I always say is try to keep one of these spells in hand, especially if you have like 2 level limit Arabes. For the love of God, don't activate the second one. That's not even necessary to begin with. But secondly, if you have a Spell Shield type 8, keep one in your hand because that's a free discard to negate a Heavy Storm to protect your field. But yeah, that's it, guys. If you would make any changes, let me know. Again, if you like Go Edison, Hat Tengu, subscribe for more. We appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.